In Dragon Ball Super, after the events of the Tournament of Power, we saw as Goku and Vegeta went on to meet Broly during the events of DBS Broly, but after some time passed and they finally got some downtime, the two met up at Vegeta's house for some training, where Vegeta told Goku to take it to the gravity room so the neighbors don't complain. Here we see Vegeta asking Goku why he hasn't used Ultra Instinct since the tournament, with Goku telling him he hasn't been able to do it since then, and that he guesses there aren't any shortcuts to training, meaning they still have a lot more to do and new levels to reach. It's here where Vegeta calls Ultra Instinct useless, saying that he never wants to fight side by side with Goku again. And what do you know it? Right at that moment, they get a call from Bulma, presenting them with a reason to fight side by side. You see, at Hercule's house, there's been a disturbance with a strange gang of people showing up to take away Majin Buu. Vegeta just kind of shrugs it off, saying, "Are we forgetting that Majin Buu was extremely capable despite how he looks?" And despite the fact that Goku and Vegeta can't sense any strong energy across the planet that would reasonably be enough to get the job done, they still decide to go there because Hercule and Buu are the homies, so why not? Now, as Goku and Vegeta argue about whether to fly or teleport there since Vegeta is still being difficult, we see that at the Hercule estate, Mr. Satan screams at a strange alien man to put Buu back, as they've already started loading him into their ship. This causes Mr. Satan to up pole on the alien because he's not going to let them take his friend, to which the alien responded by upping his pole, blasting away Hercule's bullet, and trying to explain who he is and what he's after, before Goku shows up and asks the question directly. From here, we're greeted with this alien glazing our two heroes a bit, but as the goal is to save Buu, Goku starts to beat the hell out of this alien's henchman. Now, to everyone's surprise, the strange man actually gets the better of Goku, speed blitzing him in his base form and getting behind him with a blaster that completely knocks Goku unconscious due to some setting applied to it. When Vegeta tries to get involved, he's blasted too, right in the back, and they're both taken away on the spaceship, leaving Mr. Satan extremely confused, as we see that this man has a Galactic Patrol emblem on his uniform, and it all starts to become clearer. Hours go by, and eventually Goku and Vegeta are woken up by Jocko, who tells them that they're on Galactic Patrol HQ, as the man that captured them walks out and introduces himself as Maris, a Galactic Patrolman who handles over 100 different sectors of space. First and foremost, he apologizes for the violence, telling the two that they didn't seem like they were interested in listening anymore. However, things have gotten bad, and the Galactic Patrol needs their help right now along with Majin Buu, because one of the most dangerous criminals in the universe has escaped from Galactic Prison, so it's time to meet Moro. We see as in space, meteors begin to fall as a battle unfolds 10 million years into the past. Here we see a fat Kaioshin who looks very similar to Majin Buu, as he does his best to avoid these falling chunks of rock. However, while he catches his breath, the villain floating above them throws an entire flaming comet towards the big bone Kai, causing him to have to catch it and throw it away. This is an insane battle when you really think of what's going on here, but not having much time to think, we watch as the strange figure reaches his hand out towards a planet and begins to drain it of all life. Plants wither, animals die. This planet is dying, but off in space we see the being taking the energy that it gathered off this world and eating it, where suddenly we're met with a massive explosion of energy stemming from this beast as it arcs down towards the two Kais. Lightning rains down on them as they realize there's no winning here. This has gotten out of control, but what can they do? Off to the side, we see two Galactic Patrolmen telling us exactly what's happening here, that this is Planet Eater Moro, a man who is responsible for the extinction of an entire star system, with him being directly linked to the destruction of over 300 worlds. This is where the Kai realizes he only has one option left. Telling his friend that everything is going to be okay, he prepares huge amounts of God Ki in his hands and fires towards Moro. But what is he doing? Well, the Big Bone Kai explains that he's actually been developing a technique that allows a god to seal the magic of a creature by sacrificing their own God Ki to do so. So this is exactly what happens as Moro is completely disabled, and we see that the Kai survives extremely drained. However, Moro is captured and taken away by Galactic Patrol as we come back to the present day. Here, Goku and Vegeta ask a few questions about the story that Maris just told them, but the gist is that this guy is still alive and he's free now, right? Agreeing, Maris also explains to them that he needed to capture Majin Buu because Buu actually absorbed the Big Bone Kai, the Lord of Lords, meaning extracting the Kai from Buu might be their only hope to seal Moro again. However, Goku explains that Buu is probably going to be asleep for a long time, so he offers to go and capture Moro alongside Vegeta. However, first they're going to have to talk to the Galactic King, who basically reaffirms that they could really use their help here and officially hires Goku and Vegeta as members of the Galactic Patrol. They even get cool little Sharpie logos on their outfits, which we see in the teaser image for this season when it finally finally gets animated. Now, while Jocko welcomes Goku and Vegeta by trying to show them the victory pose so they can learn it too, we learn that a family of criminals has been caught stealing again, so Maris wants to go deal with this himself, and Vegeta thinks to himself, I couldn't read this man's ki at all, but he didn't just sneak up on me. He actually had the speed to get the drop on me, which speaks to his skill. Finally speaking up, he tells Maris, I'm going as well. I want to see what you're made of. As Goku decides to tag along, and they all head off. This brings them to Planet Young, a mining planet where we see a train full of some glowing blue stones being stolen as it speeds down the tracks. At this point, we see a family of Dragon Ball Daima demon-looking characters holding the actual crew of the train hostage as Maris lands on the bed of the train, explaining to Goku that this mineral is called blue aurum, which Jocko says is a sort of fuel that can be used to power things, but it's bad news when criminals get some since they could use it to power their evil plans. Judging by the amount this crew is stealing, they've got enough to blow up an entire planet if they wanted to. And as Maris kneels on the train, the leader of this gang fires a shot that Maris narrowly dodges before turning around, and it seems like we've got a little bit of a standoff here, folks. The man named Pasta, and yeah, we can sit with that for a second, his name is Pasta, says it's been too long, old friend, but Maris isn't with it. He says, I'm not gonna sleep today until the three of you are in jail. Now the two go back and forth some more, but Pasta eventually throws his gun after infusing it with his ki, causing it to explode and separate the train cars. However, quickly Jocko and Maris manage to handle this as Goku leaps into action and intercepts Pasta's escape ship, scaring the hell out of his family because he's not even in uniform. Maris thanks Goku for helping him, but off on the side, Vegeta notices that Maris had already disabled the ship and he's holding part of the thrusters in his hand. He stopped the train and disabled the ship, and I was only able to keep up with one of those things. As Vegeta continues to wonder about Maris, their first day on the job continues. But Vegeta is pissed. He tells Maris, You could have saved the day even faster. You're hiding your power. You can't fool me. Why are we here? You're clearly capable enough, no? Maris reassures Vegeta that he isn't trying to hide anything, and that no matter how capable he seems, Moro is on an entirely different level, which is really why they need to focus on capturing him above all else, because he has the potential to keep getting stronger. Right at that moment, a communication comes in saying that Kusaya Squad has managed to get intel on Moro's location, and the second Goku and Vegeta hear about this, you know our main character gets excited, trying to lock onto Moro's key signature from across the galaxy so that they can just instant transmission there. It's here where for the first time, we actually see Goku's ki searching for the target of his technique as it speeds through space and eventually comes across a man crouched in a dark purple void. Goku begins to sweat. He's never experienced this before. What is this, a vision? At that moment, slowly the man begins to turn around, horns visible, beard grayed from 10 million years of imprisonment, but it's him. Moro, the Planet Eater, turns and looks at Goku with a smile on his face, and immediately, feeling an odd presence reaching back, Goku puts his hand down and just starts freaking out. Wondering what the hell is happening, Vegeta questions Goku, asking if he should try to find Moro's ki. However, Goku screams, Vegeta, don't! He can sense us back! This is crazy, but Vegeta questions Goku, asking him from what he was able to sense, was Moro's ki massive and does he have God ki? Goku says no, but that wasn't what makes him so nervous. Moro's ki doesn't feel like it's that big of a problem, however something about it was extremely unnerving. Like by sensing it, Goku could hear the painful screams of an unknowable number of people suffering. Maris tells Goku that Planet Eater isn't just a nickname. He literally absorbs the life force of entire planets, meaning his ki is infused with the spirits of those that he's consumed over all those years. And at this point, the number of victims is uncountable. It's a number that's so large, it doesn't even make sense to count it. Moro is a natural disaster taking place in space, but we see as he also sits in a ship heading through the galaxy, warning his only ally that someone is looking for them. However, his magic is in such a sorry state that he can't really do anything else but scan for the planet they're searching for, while Goku and Vegeta stand in Galactic HQ as Pasta explains to them that Frieza's goons have been searching around for Namek's Dragon Balls, so word must have gotten back to Moro about their existence. We learn that this is exactly the case as the man flying Moro to Namek is that ex-Frieza soldier who just wants to use one of the wishes to disappear to part of the universe where the Galactic Patrol and Frieza will never find him. But Moro explains that he only needs one of these wishes to enact his plan, but what does he want? On New Namek, we see the elders praying to a Dragon Ball, asking for the protection of their gods to maintain this new era of peace they find themselves in. People play chess, young ones run around and play, Everything seems amazing here, but we know it's all about to be disrupted once again. As Moro's ship is about to finally land, Goku and Vegeta decide to use instant transmission to just go there, leaving Maris and the other patrolmen behind for now as they tell them to catch up as quick as they can. But Maris thinks this is a terrible idea. As they arrive on New Namek though, we see they make it just in time to watch the ship land, as on the ship, Moro is very surprised. He says, "The man who's been tracking me suddenly crossed a massive distance and arrived here. It seems like he's here to capture me." At that moment, Moro lets loose a huge smile as he says his energy is immaculate. On the surface, Goku explains the situation to the Namekians and basically tells them to evacuate. However, staying focused, Vegeta begins reading Moro's ki. He says, "You're right. His ki is definitely ominous. However, it's nothing that should really be concerning in a battle, no? Is this really the legendary planet eater Maris was so afraid of? I hardly believe it." Not trying to escape at the sight of Goku and Vegeta, the ship lands right in front of them, almost like how Broly arrived in front of the two during his movie, as Goku says he has a bad feeling about this, and it's finally here, the moment where the ship opens and our heroes meet Moro. At first, it's very confusing for these two. They see a strange, very old man walk out of the ship in red tattered robes with two ram-like horns on the side of his head and blue skin. His beard is massive, and honestly, he looks like a humble old wizard, if anything. But as he takes his first breath of fresh air in over 10 million years, the atmosphere remains tense. Goku asks, "You're Moro, right? I've heard you're a pretty nasty guy, so why don't you just turn around and go right back to prison?" Completely ignoring Goku, Moro turns and senses a small Namekian boy hiding nearby in a house, one who didn't escape with the others, that he immediately uses his telekinesis to drag out of the house as he holds the boy, and Goku begins to freak out. "Put him down!" Moro smiles, saying, "Worry not. This one is just for food," as already this guy isn't playing around, and a new battle begins. Before Goku can reach Moro, we see that Vegeta lunges forward, kicking the boy out of Moro's hand and saving him, shocking everyone here. Moro says, "You dare interrupt my first meal? Curious." But Vegeta takes a stand here, looking directly at Moro as he says, "I have a history with these Namekians. I've caused them far too much harm already. So no, I won't be allowing a single one of them to perish, especially not to be your food." Moro smiles as we realize that this guy has really gotten on Vegeta's nerves at a personal level, so calmly and unlike usual, Vegeta asks Goku to stand aside and let him handle this one. And I really like this from Vegeta's character, I'm not gonna lie. This writing is really interesting to me because it's true, Vegeta really did do untold harm to the Namekians over the course of the original series, but now returning to their world after so many years have gone by, after Vegeta has raised his own family and learned what it's like to have something be precious to him, it's beautiful to see how he's changed, that now he can even get angry on behalf of the Namekians that he treated like nothing before. Toyotaro was already cooking this early on into the arc. Now at this moment, Goku agrees to let Vegeta get this fight all to himself, although like always he warns Vegeta to watch out since we still don't really know what this guy does. Coughing this off, Vegeta says, "They say you can use magic. Just try it. I'll show you the difference between a true warrior and your little grade school act." As Moro just laughs, saying, "You think you can capture me? How ignorant you are, but very well." The battle officially begins, with Vegeta going Super Saiyan right away and speeding towards Moro with punches and kicks that the alien actually managed to dodge, and dodge he does, as repeatedly Moro retreats away or dodges every single attack that Vegeta tries, even going on all fours creepily to do so, as the Frieza soldier realizes that that's Prince Vegeta, and not only that, but he's joined the Galactic Patrol? Moro finally creates enough distance between himself and Vegeta that he can start the fight back, as he slams his hands downwards, and we see Vegeta crash down onto the ground confused. From here, Moro raises his hands, sending Vegeta flying up, as he then gets sent crashing into a cliff, and Goku starts to understand a little more about Moro's special powers. At that moment, Vegeta has had enough playing around, as a flash of red energy fills the battlefield, and right here, right now, Vegeta goes Super Saiyan God with a smile on his face, saying, "Very well.
Shall we continue?
And suddenly things begin to go very differently. As he flies towards the Planet Eater, Moro tries to manipulate Vegeta with his telekinesis once again. However, this time Vegeta is actually able to dodge, which is all the more impressive because Moro's technique is literally invisible. The only way Vegeta is able to do this is either instinct or just reading the magic through the air using Moro's key signature. Vegeta is literally moving so fast in so many different angles that Moro just can't keep up and eventually has to just guard the oncoming hit because he can't stop it. This allows Vegeta to finally land an attack, kicking Moro right in the chin as he launches him away with an upward strike. And now we're finally getting somewhere. Nervous, Moro wipes the blood from his mouth and cracks his neck because this is going to take more effort than he thought. However, in front of him, Vegeta starts to talk that talk.
I was curious to see for myself what the beast who terrifies the Galactic Patrol was capable of. To think this was it. How disappointing.
Desperately, Moro uses his power to lift a tree off of a nearby cliff, but Vegeta instantly destroys it with a no-look beam. Moro rushingly continues grabbing more things to throw at Vegeta, all of which are destroyed, and he truly looks like he doesn't know what to do here. Vegeta says,
We've come up against all sorts of weird abilities and strange powers in our fights over the years. This? It's nothing new. Nothing we can't handle.
Now, as Vegeta is saying this, back at Galactic HQ, Jaco and Maris discuss whether or not they should speed off to New Namek, since Jaco thinks that Goku and Vegeta probably already have this taken care of. But Maris disagrees. He says no matter how powerful they are, they won't win against Moro, at least not without Majin Buu's power. This haunting admission stays with us as we head back to New Namek, where Moro takes off his tattered rags and reveals that he actually just has really bad posture. However, underneath the rags, we see the clothes of a warrior from a time long past as Moro stands up and smiles, telling Vegeta,
You wish to witness my magic, right? Okay. Yes. As you wish. I'll show you.
This tells us that so far, Moro has just been using the most basic version of telekinesis, something we've even seen Frieza and Cell capable of in the past, but that's not his true magic, and it's finally time for the Planet Eater to fight back. We see Maris and Jaco talking on their ship as they say that the reason Vegeta and Goku likely won't be able to beat him is because of his true ability. Back on New Namek, Frieza's ex-henchman realizes exactly what's about to happen here as he witnessed it already during their escape from Galactic Prison, so he moves the ship away while Moro begins to seemingly prepare his attack as Vegeta looks on confused.
What, you've been holding back? Just what else are you capable of?
Goku steps in, saying, We know all about how you can absorb energy from planets and even people, just like you tried to do a second ago with that boy. But we aren't gonna let you do that here. Moro smiles, saying,
Oh, so you aren't as ignorant as you seem, but it seems you don't truly understand the full picture quite yet.
At that moment, Moro raises his hand and unleashes the true power of his technique as rocks begin to shift and the very earth beneath them begins to quake. Vegeta is shocked as beneath Moro and all around them, large jets of lava straight from the planet's core shoot out, with Moro explaining to them that the reason he's feared isn't just because he can devour planets, but because he can use the energy of a planet that he's standing on to power his attacks directly, meaning everything he does from here on is using the power of New Namek itself, which he says is splendid. This planet is exceptional. As he points a finger upwards, suddenly a mini volcano erupts under Vegeta, sending him flying back as he gets burned and doesn't have much time to respond before a huge wave of erupting lava heads towards his direction. Dodging this one, the second his foot lands on the ground, another massive column of magma erupts, this time catching him directly and causing our Saiyan to scream. Yeah, this is more like it, as Vegeta is forced to remain in the air to keep away from these attacks. However, Goku screams at him to watch out. This is where we see that behind Vegeta, the magma has actually flown into the air, forming a tidal wave infused with purple flames that crashes on Vegeta, who absolutely tanks it, before trying to catch Moro with a sneak attack from beneath the cold obsidian that Moro blocks by surrounding himself in lava, as he looks Vegeta right in the face, telling him,
You're useless. This isn't going to work. You can no longer land a single finger on me.
Here, Goku finally says, Hey, let me step in, twin. However, Vegeta calmly denies him, saying, Shut up, Kakarot!
Just watch me. Moro, all I need to defeat you is to keep dodging your technique until it runs out. Is that correct?
Moro responds honestly, saying that his technique is effectively limitless and he can keep using it until all the life force on the planet itself is wiped out, something that surely Vegeta and Goku wouldn't wish to wait for as the battle drags on. There, Vegeta says that he has no hope of capturing Moro, since without the ability to actually land a hit or another transformation, he's kind of cooked. Goku picks up on what Vegeta's doing, since of course they still have Super Saiyan Blue to tap into, as well as Blue Evolution for Vegeta, meaning he can still push forward, but instead he's trying to get into Moro's head. How interesting. The conversation continues with Vegeta telling Moro that
Right now, in the bigger picture of things, killing us might not be the best thing to fulfill your goal.
as Moro does admit that Vegeta seems to know more about this planet than he does, but mocks the Saiyan for basically admitting defeat and trying to bargain for his life, as the villain questions Vegeta about the Dragon Balls, and Vegeta replies that he doesn't know much about them. There, Moro continues his attack, saying,
Just as I thought. Worthless.
as another massive wave of lava nearly crashes down on Vegeta, who has to blow it apart using a ki blast before suddenly Moro was right behind him, directly attacking Vegeta with one of those waves like a ki beam. At that moment, Vegeta says,
Just tell me what you'd wish for. Look at how powerful you are. Is this truly not enough?
This is a super interesting line of questioning for Vegeta to be asking, especially because years ago he too arrived on this planet with the very same goal as Moro of gaining power through the Dragon Balls, but Moro denies him immediately. He says that at his prime, consuming the entirety of Planet Namek and dealing with Vegeta and Goku would have been as easy as swatting away an insect, that no matter how powerful he might seem to them right now, he's merely a shell of his former self and he wants nothing more than to return to his full power so he can keep on doing what he does best, as the universe is now brimming with life since he's been locked away for 10 million years, and that's something he intends to do something about. Honestly, he has a great mindset for a god of destruction, but since he isn't one, he's just a vile evil bastard, and Vegeta has had enough. He says,
My. That's all. You're truly just the rotten piece of scum that they told us you are. I guess that really makes you worth killing.
Right then, Vegeta powers up into Super Saiyan Blue and unleashes a blast that sends Moro reeling back, as now they know his true goal, and this fight can continue. However, now that they know everything they need to close this case for the Galactic Patrol, Vegeta lunges in using Super Saiyan Blue to dodge all of Moro's attacks and send him flying into the water, as Frieza's ex-soldier in the ship comments on just how ridiculous Vegeta's strength is. At that moment, Vegeta powers down to save energy as he feels sorta exhausted, and Goku picks up on this immediately, realizing that this shouldn't be the case because of how hard they've trained. Looking around, he realizes that the trees have slowly been withering away as this battle unfolds, and looks down on his own two hands, realizing something is missing. Moro flies out of the water directly in front of Vegeta, seeming defeated, as Vegeta says,
I won't stand by while this planet suffers, so you need to be eliminated right here, right now.
But Goku screams at Vegeta that something is wrong, as Frieza's henchman flies the ship across the battlefield trying to escape because he thinks Moro is about to lose. However, that small distraction is enough for Moro to cause a confusion, using a few ki blasts to knock up some smoke, as he buys himself enough time to create a massive ball of magma from Namek. Vegeta says,
So what? Your ability is useless against me now.
But again, something is just not right here. We see a small globs of energy float in the air, as all around the planet, the trees seem to sway just a bit less. The water rushes just a little less quickly, and the Namekians themselves who live on the planet begin to feel lightheaded, like they need to take a seat. This is just like when Goku uses the Spirit Bomb, but more aggressive, like instead of borrowing, it's stealing. At that moment, Moro turns the huge ball of energy into a much smaller size as he eats it and absorbs all of the power within it, as Vegeta and Goku decide that they really need to end this now because they finally understand just why Maris was so afraid of this guy. At that moment, Vegeta begins powering up, but he isn't able to transform, and when he tries again, he still isn't able to power up, not even into Super Saiyan, as Goku screams to Vegeta that Moro has been stealing their energy this entire time, and we see the villain speed blitz Vegeta, grabbing onto his face and slamming it into a cliff, as Moro smiles and says, You thought you were so smart. Did you not think that just like you, I was hiding my true intent as well? All this time, Moro has been draining energy from the planet as well as Goku and Vegeta. So now that Vegeta can't actually fight back anymore and Goku has been drained as well, things are looking really dire because they have no clue how they're gonna beat this guy as this battle nears its end. And across the universe, a certain god of destruction is bored with fishing and wants to have some fun. Next. From here, Moro easily throws Vegeta around like a toy until Goku gets involved, flying in with a kick that gets easily blocked, as Moro treats Goku like the Hulk did Loki during the Avengers and ragdolls him around before throwing him into one of Moro's magical lava eruptions, so Vegeta isn't the only one who gets cooked here. Goku is annoyed, saying, "Darn it! I'm already so drained!" However, off to the side, Vegeta suddenly shoots out of the water, charging his Gallic gun, because clearly he doesn't know how to do what Goku did back during the Namek saga, which is still one of the most creative uses of his Kamehameha that we've seen. However, as Vegeta angrily lets loose his beam towards Moro, we see that the galactic prisoner eats it. This allows Moro to absorb all of the energy from the attack as he becomes even stronger, and these two are actually in big trouble here. Off on planet Beerus, we see the god of destruction is getting really bored of the fishing that he's doing alongside Whis. However, right around that time, Whis actually looks at his staff to see what Goku and Vegeta are doing, seeing their battle and telling Beerus that Namek is probably going to die, to which Beerus responds, "Great. Thankfully for me, some random planet buster tends to come around and do my job for me." Whis is kind of confused here, making sure that Beerus doesn't want to go do anything about this. However, Beerus responds that Namek doesn't even have any food since the people there only need to drink water, so he really doesn't care about it too much. And just like that, we're coming to the realization that Goku and Vegeta aren't getting any help here. Back on Namek, the two of them are barely standing as Goku makes the executive decision to instant transmission the two of them out of there. Because no matter how bad he feels about the people of Namek, the universe is in danger if the two of them die here, so they've got to go. Unfortunately for Goku, he doesn't have enough ki to actually send them anywhere, and noticing what they're up to, Moro starts sending giant blasts their way, with them eventually being unable to dodge, as they're knocked onto the ground once again. Here, within the massive crater that used to be a village, Moro crashes down onto Goku to completely knock him out, as he reaches out his other hand and force pulls Vegeta towards himself, holding both of our main characters by the neck. Moro says, "You two were never a threat to me, and in fact I welcome your presence here. Do you know why? Because you two will be the ones that allow me to become even more powerful." As Moro uses his magic on both Goku and Vegeta to steal all of their remaining power as he eats it and watches the two of them collapse onto the ground completely unconscious. We know that Moro is extremely old and drained of all of his magic, but even he can't believe how much closer to his prime he's gotten just from absorbing Goku and Vegeta. At this time, when the ex-Frieza soldier that's been taking Moro from point A to point B arrives to the crater where this massive battle just ended, eventually it's decided that they'll go and hunt down the rest of the Dragon Balls, as Moro can sense where large gatherings of Namekians are, so all they need to do is go to those places and force out some answers. Back on Earth, which we haven't seen for a little while, Bulma has actually picked up Mr. Satan from his house as he tells her the story about just what happened to help her understand where Goku and Vegeta went, as she realizes that they're with the Galactic Patrol, so it's time for Bulma to visit her sister. Once she reaches one of her islands, she dials right up to the Galactic HQ because of course that's something she can just do, and screams at Jocko for not telling her that they hired Goku and Vegeta and took them away, and she gets even angrier when Jocko tells her that he can't put Vegeta on the phone because him and Goku kinda just vanished. Explaining the situation to her though, Bulma gets down to brass tacks and says that she's going to be heading to Galactic HQ because she wants to see this Moro guy for herself if the universe is gonna end. As Hercule steps in and says,
"Hey Bulma, what about Boo? Is Boo okay? Ask about my goat."
Bulma does this and finds out that not only is Boo okay, but he's actually woken up finally from his slumber. So Jocko finds an excuse to hang up the phone, and we switch over to Galactic HQ. Here they're making preparations to load Boo into their ship as a different team is sent to Galactic Prison, since they've really got to get Pasta and his gang out of here and to their cells. It's here where we finally cut back to Planet Namek as Goku and Vegeta lay unconscious on the border of life and death in the crater that Moro created with his technique, and luckily the Namekians managed to find them before it's too late, bringing them back to a hidden home in the cliffs where the boy that Vegeta saved begins to heal the two of them as much as he can. The issue is that these two were really hurt and Eska is pretty weak, so it took 3 full days before the two of our Saiyans were able to wake up, and immediately upon learning this, Vegeta asks,
"Namekian, hold it! If we've been asleep for that long, what has Moro been doing this entire time?" What exactly is that fiend up to?
Here, the village elder tells Vegeta that Moro has already destroyed 3 entire villages and stolen their Dragon Balls. And as Vegeta barely manages to stay awake through the pain of his injuries, let's cut over to Moro to see just how scary he truly is. This begins with Moro sensing large gatherings of Namekians to seek out their villages, leading to him taking out one a day while Goku and Vegeta are asleep, as we pick up on the 4th village he's found. Here we see as Moro force chokes one of the Namekians from Village 4 as he surrounds the entire area with his erupting magma. As he questions the entire village on where the Dragon Balls are, they decide to talk back and tell him how terrible he is, so he laughs and chucks their friend into the flames, never to be seen again, as instantly he's disintegrated by the heat. Since of course grass types are weak to fire, I think that's how it works, right? As the Namekians scream in horror, Moro says, "Your village is wreathed in flames. There is no escape, so bring me your Dragon Ball now." When another Namekian speaks up, Moro merely points at him, sending the man flying into the burning wall to everyone's horror, because there's just literally nothing they can do here, as Moro says, "You are all fated to die in due time, so why resist?" Now by this point, Goku and Vegeta are awake, so they're actually able to sense all of this going on, but they too can't really do anything about it since they're still extremely injured and don't even have enough ki for Goku to instant transmission to Earth and get some sensu beans. However, the village elder tells them to chill and let the Namekians cook, because they haven't just been sitting around for these past few days. He reminds them that while the Namekians aren't like the Saiyans, who each alone are extremely strong warriors capable of taking on an army, the Namekians' power comes from consolidating their powers together, being more of a people based around community and togetherness. To this end, when a big enough threat presents itself, we've seen that their emergency button is the ability to merge 2 Namekians together. However, here the village elder tells them that this is an extraordinary threat, so they've taken extraordinary measures. Off in the sky, we see 3 Namekians flying together as the one in the middle reaches out and assimilates the 2 at his side. As he goes faster and faster, we see bigger groups of Namekians meeting all up and assimilating together into one almighty Namekian warrior, made up of the strongest warriors from every village on the planet, making up the complete pride of the Namekian race as he arrives at Village 4 ready to save his people, and rushes towards Moro with hope, with the fate of his people in his fist. And at that moment, swinging for the future of the Namekian people against all odds, he's instantly killed by Moro, who doesn't even get to see his face because the Namekians are all bums and have literally no hope here. So now that that's over with, let's get back to Moro conquering Planet Namek because the fantasy is over. So as the village elders despair, oversensing their last chance being wiped out so easily, they begin to cry as Vegeta realizes how similar this all is to before.
He's searching for the Dragon Balls by seeking out every village the same way that Frieza, well, that we did it long ago.
However, Goku realizes that they might actually be okay here, since no matter what happens, as long as Moro can't sense the Dragon Balls themselves and he's only searching for big groups of Namekians, maybe he just won't find them here, which will buy them enough time to get back the full power. From here, Goku tells the Elder to send a message across all the villages, telling people to scatter as Goku and Vegeta completely hid their key signatures, and this entire situation enters a sort of waiting period. Back at the village, we see that Moro has completely wiped out everyone, as Cranberry, the ex-Frieza soldier, tries to find the Dragon Ball, and we find out that Moro can sense them now because he's able to tell Cranberry exactly where it is. Sensing the location of the next one, they leave the head right there and begin mercilessly hunting down every Namekian they come across, finding multiple lone ones trying to escape of their village's Dragon Ball on their own, and begin to take them out. Because of this, it quickly reaches the point where Moro has 6 out of the 7 Dragon Balls that he needs, while back on Earth, we actually get a look at what's going on Kami's lookout tower. Here, Dende can literally sense the horrors happening back home on Namek, telling Mr. Popo that something terrible is happening there. But suddenly he realizes that Piccolo is aura farming in the background, as Piccolo says,
"You can sense it too, huh, Dende? A few days back I felt Goku and Vegeta's key signatures leave Earth, but I didn't know where they went. Maybe they're on Namek after all, meaning you're right. Something terrible is going on."
Now, as we cut back to Goku and Vegeta having their laundry done and getting another round of healing, suddenly Vegeta can sense that Moro is coming their way, as he says,
"Kakarot, do you feel that? That bastard! Is he somehow able to sense the Dragon Balls directly now? Damn!"
Right then, right there, Goku immediately grabs his clothes and suits up, saying their only option is to take him head on, as he steps out first to take a stand. As Vegeta is getting ready, he looks at the Elder and says,
There's something I need to know before we continue. Did you know that I, Prince Vegeta, slaughtered many of your people? a few Namekians years ago.
The Elder acknowledges Vegeta, saying yes, that his attack on their planet isn't something that they'd ever easily forget, even being able to name one of the Elders that Vegeta killed. Vegeta asked,
"So, do you not hold any grudges against me for what I've done?"
And the Elder responds that grudges aren't the Namekian way, because hatred only breeds more conflict and they only wish to preserve peace. Hearing this, Vegeta says,
"I see,"
as he meets Goku out on a nearby mountain, making him promise to make restoring this planet to its former glory his #1 priority if Goku survives this and Vegeta doesn't. And as Goku agrees, the two of them wait for Moro's arrival, but Vegeta tells them that either of them surviving this next fight is a long shot anyway, so maybe he's just saying that for nothing. Goku actually agrees here, but says that they're basically out of options as Moro finally arrives in his ship and can't believe the two Saiyans are still alive. Instead of being concerned, this actually excites Moro, who says, "I will not suffer them scampering around for much longer. Right here, right now. Those two will perish by my hand." Noticing his killing intent heading right in their direction, Goku and Vegeta agree that it's finally time, as they both try and power up as much as they can, and together start flying towards Moro, despite the fact that they couldn't even power up past base form. This is insane, and actually what I love about this the most is this moment feels like both Goku and Vegeta acknowledging that there's no hope here, but so what? They both look at each other and smile, because no matter how hopeless it is, they're Saiyans. They're going to go out fighting. And that's exactly what they decide to do, and there's just something so cool about this moment where you actually get the impression that they think they're flying off to die once and for all, side by side. That just speaks to me. Like the entire journey of Dragon Ball up until now, this is a huge moment for both of their characters that I'm sure is bringing a tear to Whis' eye from Planet Beerus. However, despite how amazing this moment is, it's cut short as suddenly a ship appears in front of Goku and Vegeta, surprising everyone. As Moro tries to figure out just what's going on, he spots something small on top of the ship and focuses as hard as he can, as we see Maris finally arrive onto the scene with his blaster, immediately firing onto and destroying the boosters from Moro's ship as it crashes and the Planet Eater comes flying out. Right there, Maris wastes no time, ordering Iyoku, the other Galactic Patrolman, to send the ship straight up in pursuit, but Moro is watching. Thinking he has the advantage, Moro lets loose a barrage of ki blasts that Maris easily dodges, and on the ground, Goku and Vegeta can't believe what they're seeing because this guy is really cooking right now. Maris continues to dodge through all of Moro's attacks until eventually he reaches the villain and fires off a wrist blaster at point blank range, which lets loose a net that completely surrounds the Planet Eater. Here, Moro gets confused, screaming, "What have you done?" as Maris smiles, easily pulling Moro in and bringing him down to the ground, as Maris explains that this is a special device they created specifically to capture Moro, which doesn't allow him to make contact with the planet, meaning he can't use his magic at the moment. And what follows from here is Moro trying over and over again to break out as he gets really angry at the Galactic Patrol. Now, while this is happening, Maris calls out to the ship for Majin Buu to come out and seal Moro once and for all, but Buu is actually asleep and needs to be pushed out of the ship. Everyone is shocked here because they say that he was actually awake before they landed, but it doesn't take long for Buu to wake up and look around as we learn something very interesting. You see, Jaco tells Goku and Vegeta that they actually use all sorts of specialists within the Galactic Patrol to help Buu recover some of his lost memories, which means he actually regained the memories of the Lord of Lords, the Kai that we saw fighting against Moro at the beginning of this story. And as Jaco tells Buu to walk over and take care of Moro, we see Buu turn around and actually meet eyes with the villain and have a strange reaction. Buu goes, "Moro? Him! I remember him! You're the bad guy Buu caught way back! You killed so many of my friends!" I'm so sorry. As Buu says this, steam begins to release from his head as he begins to get really angry. However, Moro can't believe what he's hearing right now, saying, "No, the Lord of Lords. There's no possible way you could still be alive. How?" Realizing exactly what the plan is here, Moro begins to violently resist as a vein starts to pop in his head and he unleashes all of the power that he can muster to blow off the net that has him trapped and send Maris flying back. Here, everyone starts to freak out because Moro is loose again and he once again has contact of Planet Namek, meaning he can use his magic, while Goku and Vegeta are still weak. But something has changed. Moro isn't worried about anyone else anymore. He's only focused on Buu as he says, "Oh, great Lord of Lords, do you think that I've forgotten the great debt that I owe you from back then?" As he begins to power up. Likewise, Buu stares back in anger, saying, "Did you think that I'd forget what you did? You don't get to pick on anyone anymore!" as the steam from Boo's head finally stops and suddenly he erupts. No more! He screams as Goku and the others look on extremely confused because they've never seen this Boo before, as he calmly stands in front of Moro ready for battle and the two face off. Here Boo dashes in, trying to close the distance, but Moro, having access to his magic again, raises his hand and puts up a huge wall of magma to defend himself just like he did against Vegeta. Unfortunately for him, Boo is not Vegeta, as Boo charges up a punch and flies right through Moro's magic, punching the Planet Eater square in the face as Moro tries to fly back and uses his favorite move on Boo, piercing him right through his chest. Boo just laughs at this, sending Moro flying before peppering him with his spitball ki blast, and as Moro prepares his Namek powered death ball that nearly took out Goku and Vegeta, Boo just smiles at it and kicks it away like a soccer ball, before hitting his 236H from fighters on the villain. Off on the side, Vegeta says,
Kakarot, have you noticed? Boo's energy levels aren't dropping. Could it be that Moro's energy absorption has no effect on him at all?
Realizing what this means, Goku encourages Boo to end things here as Boo smiles, feeling good about just how well he's beating Moro's ass. Moro himself can't believe it, asking Boo where he got this power from, but Boo ignores him and fires a candy beam his way, causing Moro to dodge before once again getting hit with Majin Buu's 236H from fighters as he does a flip and lands on Moro, booty first, and just begins to ground and pound the Galactic Prisoner in the face over and over again. He's just wailing on Moro while everyone watches, and I can't wait for this to get animated because I have a feeling it's going to be a really viral clip since it's funny as hell. Moro lets loose a surprise attack that blows Boo's head clean off. However, he must not know who he's fighting because despite his little moment of excitement, Boo turns one of his own hands into his head and uses it to distract Moro from his other fist, coming in and cracking Moro right on the head as he gets sent flying once more. It's really something beautiful to see as Vegeta says,
I can't believe that thing's absurd abilities are finally working to our advantage.
And Goku says that he hasn't seen Boo fight in a while, but somehow he seems way stronger than last time. It's here where Maris theorizes that this is all thanks to them restoring the Lord of Lords memories within Boo, because it might have given him all of that guy's latent potential, and that's no scoffing matter, since of course the Kais are basically gods themselves. While this conversation continues, Boo hits Moro with a dragon throw straight into a nearby cliff as Moro finally snaps. He screams,
Curse you! If only I had my full magic, my true power. If I could just devour this entire world, then I wouldn't possibly lose to you.
Hearing this, Boo literally sucks his teeth like, you're a little weakling compared to me. You want to make excuses? You're trash! Funny enough, Moro just stands there because he really has nothing he can say to that. And if things weren't bad enough, if you didn't think this guy was getting destroyed adequately at this rate, Boo decides to take it up a notch even further by just randomly growing 4 more pairs of arms. Right there, he leaps towards Moro, who literally just can't believe what he's seeing and can't even react anymore, and just starts beating Moro down into the ground so fast that it literally just looks like a bunch of Boo's gloves knocking into Moro over and over. Once again, Boo is told to end the fight by sealing away Moro, this time by Maris, and finally deciding to listen, Boo says, okay, as he stands there preparing his technique, and we watch as somehow Boo's hands are still beating down on Moro, even though Boo stopped attacking forever ago. It's here where Boo uses his magic to make his hands hold Moro down so he can seal him. However, right at that moment, the sky goes dark, as Cranberry, the ex-Frieza soldier, manages to summon Porunga. Here, using a device attached to a small Namekian boy, he uses the mind control and translation device to force the boy to speak out his wishes while he takes out the village elder. Here, his first wish to Porunga is to be completely healed since he doesn't think he's gonna make it much longer. Having that wish easily granted, he moves on to his second wish. However, right there, Moro sends him a direct message telling him that if he doesn't wish for Moro's full power to return right this instant, then he won't have to worry about Frieza or anyone else for that matter, because Moro will hunt him down to the ends of the universe to make him pay for what he's done. Gulping and realizing he's not qualified to deal with those kind of problems, Cranberry goes ahead and makes the wish, and this is where everything changes. As the power returns to Moro, he erupts out of the ground in a massive jet of magma, as all around him, Boo and the others are confused on where he's gone. In the air, we see him darting forward as fast as he possibly can as he flies over Goku and Vegeta, where just his presence alone is enough to send the two of them crashing down onto the ground in pain. Trying to follow him there, we see as Cranberry finally tries to use Porunga's last wish on himself as him and Moro had agreed, but just as he's almost done speaking the words, Moro arrives and hits him with a Planet Eater special, piercing Cranberry right through the chest and dropping him to the ground, saying, "A job well done, Cranberry.
However, you see, I have a second wish of my own, meaning unfortunately there are none left for you. Taking the device off of Cranberry's head, Moro says, Porunga, was it? Just to confirm, there's still one wish remaining, correct? And as Porunga confirms, Moro laughs, saying, ah, good, good. Well, I wonder if you can even grant this next one. As we cut away, and interestingly don't see what Moro wished for, as we watch Boo, Maris, and the others gather into the ship to head that way. Now Moro destroys the device Cranberry was using before, which breaks the mind of the Namekian boy, causing him to collapse, but as Vegeta and Goku arrive, the Dragon Balls begin to scatter as Moro just stands there with a huge smug smile on his face, as Goku cries out about Moro killing all of the Namekians around the summoning site. Moro laughs, saying, if you want to be technical, he's the one who slaughtered the Namekians. But Goku gets even angrier, saying, and then you killed your own man? What kind of a rotten lowlife are you? At that moment, Vegeta looks away, realizing he's catching the craziest stray of all time, but it's not like Goku is wrong. Vegeta used to be just like this, as he looks at Moro again, saying,
You! Speak! What did you wish for, scum?
As Moro says, you'll find out in due time, before escaping Goku and Vegeta's clutches. Now as he skitters off, Boo and Maris arrive on the scene along with Jocko, as Goku tells them that they can't sense Moro anymore, but there's no telling where he is since he can probably hide his ki just like they can. Boo speaks up saying he's still on Namek, and that he can tell because Moro's magic power is back, which is different from his ki, so Boo can sense it no matter how much Moro tries to hide. Regardless, Boo steps forward using his powers to heal the boy that summoned Porunga, as the boy runs to Goku and Vegeta, and Boo apologizes because he can't heal the village elder since he's already dead. Everyone takes a moment here to mourn the loss, but quickly they all feel the planet itself begin to shake, as Goku says it has to be Moro again, trying to suck the planet dry of its energy once and for all. And Vegeta says,
I can't believe this pace! At this rate, the planet will be gone in no time at all.
Boo calmly steps in between our Saiyans, putting his hands on both of their shoulders, and with a small release of energy, Boo manages to completely heal them back to full strength using his magic. And as they begin to thank Boo, the pink all around his body begins to morph and change, allowing Boo to take on the form of the Lord of Lords. Goku and Vegeta are confused, as well as Maris, but the Lord of Lords says that it's a pleasure to meet everyone, and that Boo has allowed him to basically take over from here until Moro is defeated. This is really cool because it shows that being absorbed by Boo still sucks, but it's not like he doesn't have the ability to let the person have a sort of freedom if he deems it appropriate, painting being a part of Boo as more of a kind of hive mind, which makes it a little creepy if you ask me, but what do I know. The Lord of Lords, who will just shorten to Lord Kai, says that they still have time to act before Moro devours the planet, as Vegeta and Lord Kai grab onto Goku so they can head right to where Moro is now. Wishing them luck, it's actually time for Maris and Jocko to get out of there because Moro's draining the energy of the planet so fast that it's literally starting to fall apart a bit, with Eska telling the Galactic Patrolman that he wants to see this through to the end because he was chosen as the next village leader. So that means he can't afford to just hide around. Off in space, we see Moro standing in front of a massive ball of energy as his harvest is nearly complete, but thankfully for Namek, Goku and the others arrive just in time, powering up the Super Saiyan Blue of Vegeta as they fly in and aw, miss. It's like it was an illusion? Trying again, each of them goes for an attack on Moro, but each time they realize that it wasn't really him, but he does still have to be nearby to be gathering all of this energy. At that moment, the Lord of Lords notices Moro standing on a small asteroid nearby, causing Goku to rush towards him, but Vegeta screams,
Kakarot, you idiot! Did you forget Saiyans can't survive in deep space? Just where the hell are you going?
Remembering that Vegeta is right, Goku goes, oh crap, yeah. But Lord Kai tells him to just sit back because he'll go on and handle this alone. As right here, right now, the Lord of Lords and Moro face off one-on-one, and we have a rematch 10 million years in the making. Moro rushes up a bit and eats Namek's energy a bit early, but it's still enough to give him a massive power boost, causing him to just ignore the Lord Kai's punch at first before he grabs Lord Kai's fist and says, you dare to wear that detestable face in my presence. Right here, Lord Kai tries over and over again to land a hit on Moro, but each time every single one is blocked, before Moro suddenly goes behind him, sending Lord Kai flying downwards with a devastating kick,
Following up, he chases the Kai down to further out in space where Goku and Vegeta can't even see the fight anymore, much to their frustration. Deep in space, we see Moro using his magic to grab loose meteorites from space and use them as projectiles against Lord Kai, who tries to use his own ki blast to counter. However, as Moro goes and hides behind a large comet, the Lord of Lord lets loose a huge blast to clear the way. However, this again is where you really need to be careful, as Moro suddenly pops out from behind the comet and opens his mouth to eat the blast from Lord Kai, absorbing its energy into his own. Using this power, Moro goes on the attack, bashing the Kai's head in with a headbutt as the two of them get some time to talk since they're all alone. Moro says, I was confused by your strange abilities, but now that my power far exceeds yours, it's nothing but a small trifle. You can no longer bother me. But something doesn't make sense. What's happened to you over the last 10 million years? You've left me unimpressed. Completely ignoring this, Lord Kai makes the hand sign for his magic sealing god technique, telling Moro to quiet down and stop resisting, or he'll seal Moro's magic completely forever. Here, Moro just laughs because he's restored enough to be able to tell that the Lord of Lords is bluffing, that somehow over the last 10 million years, it's like the Lord Kai lost the God Ki that he used to have. So Moro knows that he can't use his sealing ability, which is fueled by it. It's a total victory. Back near the surface of Namek, we see as Jocko and Maris end up picking up Goku and Vegeta as they explain to them that Buu might not be as reliable as they think, because Maris has a theory that Buu lost all of his God Ki when he split up and became Kid Buu. This makes Goku and Vegeta shocked, realizing that means Kid Buu actually had God Ki all this time, which would explain just why that battle was so difficult, but that also means things are much worse than they thought, because that means that there's no real solution to Moro again. As he says this, we see Moro just bullying Lord Kai, bashing him around and hitting him with beams and blocks, all with a huge smile on his face, saying, "Oh, did someone turn you into that pathetic pigly creature from before? How sad." Moro is all but won at this point, with him absorbing everything but the final scraps of Planet Namek's energy and dominating the Lord of Lords Kai, who he kicks down through an asteroid, as Lord Kai is seemingly knocked into a vision of Goku versus Kid Buu as Goku prepares the Spirit Bomb and lets it loose, destroying Kid Buu in the process. This lets Lord Kai finally realize that when Goku obliterated Buu, this took all of his God Ki with it, explaining why he can't use his magic sealing technique anymore. Flying back up to Moro, we find out that Moro also saw those memories, meaning he knows that no one in the universe can seal his magic anymore, meaning he can just do whatever he wants because he's truly unstoppable. Back on Jocko's ship, Vegeta says,
"Cheap tricks like that never actually get the job done. We were always going to need brute strength to defeat him."
As Goku agrees, and they finally reach the battle. But it's not like they can do anything because again, Saiyans can't survive very long in the deep vacuum of space, so they have to basically just watch. Maris speaks up, asking them if they're sure that they're stronger than Moro still, with Goku saying yup and Vegeta saying,
"Naturally, Moro's magic powers aside, we're far stronger warriors than him. I imagine even just one of us at our full power in Super Saiyan Blue would be enough to handle him."
This is completely capped, but since Maris literally doesn't know any better, he says, well, alright, and activates his suit space helmet feature, telling Goku and Vegeta to go back to the surface of Planet Namek because he's gonna go out there and lead Moro straight to them. Before they can even respond, he's off, and we see that as Moro is about to finish off Lord Kai with a huge orb of energy, Maris appears behind him, using his net to latch onto Moro's arm and pull it back so he misses his attack, before not only getting Lord Kai to safety on the other side of the asteroid, but also being able to quickly establish a plan where Lord Kai will use his instant transmission to teleport Moro back to Goku and Vegeta on his command. Quickly, Moro lands to keep them from planning any further, and Maris turns on him, firing his blaster as much as he can, allowing Moro to give us Namek Saga Goku flashbacks, as he just sidesteps over and over again to dodge those projectiles like a badass. The entire time, Maris just keeps firing, as Moro says, "You dare attack me with a toy? Cease this." But as he goes to attack, Maris leaps back, using his net to crash a boulder that he was secretly carving out onto Moro, who just easily punches through it because it's a rock. Regardless, the rock was only a distraction, as Maris comes in with a drop kick on Moro's face that also doubles as a flashbang since he activates his blasters to burn Moro's eyes. Right then in the confusion, Lord Kai grabs Moro and teleports him back to Namek as Goku and Vegeta do the same. And now that they're all back in the same place, Goku and
Vegeta challenge him again, but honestly, Moro looks disappointed. He says,
"This planet still holds energy? My, I almost left food on my plate."
but Vegeta tells Moro that this is the end of the road.
I don't think you comprehend the situation you're in, do you, Moro? We're about to send you to oblivion.
Moro laughs at Vegeta, telling him,
"You're the one who doesn't seem to comprehend the situation. Boy, have you forgotten my third wish?"
and that causes Vegeta to scream, saying,
What did you wish for?
as Goku does the same, and Moro tells him that soon enough they'll see exactly what he did because it'll be inescapable. It's at this moment that we cut away to the Galactic prison where we can see a hole from where Moro already escaped earlier as the two guards investigate the scene and determine just how he managed to get out. Here we're actually greeted by the two Galactic Patrol members that Mara sent away earlier as they bring in Pasta and his gang to begin their sentences, and we see prisoners all over looking down at them. Here they tell Pasta that they're getting sick of locking him up, so he should probably stop doing crimes. But right then, golden energy travels all the way across the galaxy coming from Planet Namek as we see Porunga's influence finally reaching the prison, and it's time for some chaos. As Porunga's magic activates, we see every cell within the Galactic prison burst open, causing some confused looks on the faces of the prisoners who begin to take advantage of this and leap out from their cells, beginning a massive prison break. And what's more is this isn't a surprise to everybody, which we see when we notice a man named Saganbo who's been waiting for this the entire time, saying, "Thank you, Lord Moro. It can now begin." Saganbo is joined by a small green spiky-haired sort of space goblin and another strange figure that kind of looks like a spiky hit with a jewel in the middle of his head, as together with the other prisoners, everyone unites and begins using their abilities and various weapons to take down the guards. This goes easy as Saganbo manages to lock down the two main guards of the facility, allowing basically everyone to escape, as on the ship back near Namek we see Maris and the others getting the news. Here Eska, the little Namekian boy who actually made the wish for Moro, starts to get his memories back from when he was being mind controlled, confirming for everyone on the ship that this is part of Moro's plan. However, as we arrive back on Namek, Moro himself reveals his wish to Goku and Vegeta, who are first confused as to why he let all these people out, but it becomes obvious once they arrive on Namek in record time, flying their own ship that is covered in various blasters and weapons. Taking the time to fire at Goku and Vegeta, the resulting explosion is so massive that it can be seen from space, as Moro thanks Saganbo for bringing him a small army, and the Planet Eater rewards him by sharing the power that he's stolen with all of these prisoners. Here, as they fly out of the ship, it's time for Goku and Vegeta to deal with a new threat as Moro laughs and watches from the sky, and we get an insane fight between our Saiyans and a bunch of fodder who are actually packing a punch. This starts with a horde of prisoners jumping off of the ship as they leap towards our heroes, but immediately going into Super Saiyan Blue. At first it seems like this isn't going to be a problem because Goku and Vegeta are cooking. However, the first sign of trouble happens when Goku suddenly gets sent back to God form, something that also happens to Vegeta as they look up and see Moro gathering all of the energy from the battlefield. Rushing up to stop him, Goku himself is stopped by Saganbo, who takes advantage of the fact that Goku has dropped out of God back into Super Saiyan 3, and as this draining continues, it's like Moro is still feeding power into the prisoners because they keep getting stronger. There, as Goku is defeated by one of the prisoners, we see Vegeta telling him,
Pick yourself up, Kakarot!
before being drained into his base form and suffering the same fate. Finally, in a moment of desperation and seeing that Lord Kai has been completely knocked on his ass, Goku and Vegeta go Super Saiyan as they do their best to defend themselves, but Goku screams up to Moro asking what the point of all this is. What does he actually want? Moro says,
"You seem to have forgotten. Gathering all these allies is only a small step towards my goal, to create an ideal galaxy where I'm free to consume planets as I wish."
Responding, Vegeta questions him saying,
What? Do you have some sort of grudge against the Galactic Patrol? Is that truly worth all this?
this actually makes Moro think for a second as he responds saying,
"I detest the sort of peace that you people call normal and seek to preserve. Personally, I believe that all who strive for such a thing should be eradicated."
This pisses off our Saiyans even more, but what can they do? They're basically powerless here. Needing to be saved again before all their energy is drained, we see Maris and Jocko arrive on the scene and use their standard issue blasters to take out a number of the prisoners in just one hit. However, when Saganbo notices Maris' ship up in the sky, he tries to fire at it to blow it apart and is shocked when somehow Maris manages to shoot his blaster out of his hand from all the way down on the surface of Planet Namek. Just another thing that Maris has done that makes absolutely no sense, but continue to mark it down. At this moment, everyone realizes that this is their loss and it's time to abandon ship. So Maris Beerus tells Lord Kai to use his god teleportation technique to get Eska back to Galactic Patrol HQ as Goku grabs Maris and Jocko, telling them that it'll take them there immediately. But when he reaches his hand out to Vegeta, Vegeta says no.
Stupid magic spells! Stupid god power! We Saiyans pride ourselves in our physical might. A warrior race has no need for fancy tricks. Instant transmission. Have I truly been reduced to this?
Turning away from Goku, Vegeta says,
This is where we part. Go ahead, Kakarot.
as he flies away, forcing Goku to leave without him, as we finally reach the end of the Namek section of the story, so let's see where this arc takes us next.